So one thing I want to make clear before I even start this video is basically, yes, these are businesses you can actually operate in 2023, but it's not necessarily businesses that only work this year or they're very special this year. They're businesses you can basically operate whenever you actually want to. On top of that, it's not like they're going to make you millions of dollars. Making an extra $1,000 or $200 every single week extra, it's not that bad. And depending on the time you actually give it, the more money you actually are going to make. And in reality, I didn't want to use businesses that require you to have, for example, a bunch of experiences. So like, this is not that. It's a very simple video with simple businesses, and a business is basically you exchanging a service for money. So that's all you're going to be doing in this video. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Anyone can start them and you can make a good amount of money. And to me, that's more than enough. And as always, guys, like this video on top. I also subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified. Now, the very first idea is going to be flipping cars. Now, I know this kind of sounds like, Tommy, I need to know about cars to do this. The answer is, well, of course you do. But it doesn't mean you need to be a mechanic or be a genius. But it basically means that if you like cars, you're interested in cars, and you're able to go, for example, to auctions or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and buy cars for below what they're actually worth, then you're able to make some good money. Now, by the way, I do recommend, obviously, you know, a good mechanic before you actually buy a car, because you don't want to end up buying, for example, a lemon. That's what they call them. A lemon is when you buy a car and you find out you bought a lemon, like it's trash, okay? You're gonna spend a bunch of money to try to fix it, and you know that if you try to sell this car to somebody else, you're gonna feel terrible because you scammed somebody else that you just got scammed. I got a friend, okay? He bought a car during the winter time. And when he bought the car during the winter time, okay, obviously he wasn't using the AC, he was just using, for example, the heat. And then it comes to find out when the summertime comes, the AC doesn't work. And he was like, Tommy, this guy sold me the car during the winter because the AC wasn't going to be turned on. And that kind of sucked for him, okay? But let's say you're able to buy a car and you're able to flip it, for example, in 2 weeks to make $1,000 or $500, that's good money, obviously, okay? So you're able to do that. But again, you need to learn how to do these things. You know how auctions work, you know how Facebook works, right? So very important, and you have to have some level of interest when it comes to cars. And by the way, you don't buy cars based on what you like, you buy cars based on what's selling, all right? Very important, you know, the marketplace. Some cars, they're gonna have, for example, a faster exit, meaning you're gonna sell them faster. Some cars are gonna last a very long time, okay? Dependent. So make sure you take care of the shiny things to attract the good people out there to buy those cars for a decent price. Now, number two, guys, is going to be rent stuff, okay? This includes, for example, renting your car on Turo, or, for example, renting an apartment in your house, all right? So what I mean by apartment is basically, by the way, not really like an apartment, but you could rent a room in your house, either like an Airbnb or somebody on Craigslist. Now, me, honestly, I don't like this idea, right? I'm not a big fan of it, like renting a part of my house to a stranger. Although we did do this when I was living in New York for a very long time, and everything was fine because everyone did that there. But in reality, one of my favorite rents that I actually did or was a part of was basically like in Tampa, Florida. These people had like a very nice house. It was a nice house, but they had taken out, for example, a part of the house, and they actually created a studio. It's like an extension of the house, but it's actually a studio, and it has, for example, its own entry point. And I was staying there for like a week, I think it was, and I never even saw these people once. Did not see them because everything was like separate. There was like, for example, even like I didn't have a washing machine. I can't say that, but you could add, for example, a washing area, although it's not really necessary. But I even had like my own mini kitchen in there. I had, for example, the bathroom. I had the bed. So you walked into the bedroom. Later, you walk into the kitchen, and then to the side was basically the bathroom, and the closet was right there. I would argue that it was probably less than like 30 square feet, maybe like 40 square feet. Okay, but it was comfortable. It fit like a full size mattress. It had a walking around space, and it was in a nice area. It was awesome. All right, so that's the way to do it without having people actually be physically in your house and actually have to use your own entrance to get into the home. All right, that's one way. Now, or if you want, for example, you can rent your car on Turo and so on, and that's pretty fair. I wouldn't try to rent my car like under the books because you do need insurance for that stuff, and it's better to go with people that you actually know or actually, you know, have background check or some type of thing like that. You don't want to rent it to like a complete stranger because you might not get your car back. Now, number three is like online teaching, whether it's language or course or YouTube. Right now you're on YouTube, right? And you're watching this video right now, and you're probably wondering, what is this guy doing? Like, I'm here teaching you guys about businesses and so on, right? So this is in a sense that you can start a business just like this one. YouTube is harder because you gotta get monetized here on YouTube. But in reality, if you make, for example, like a course, or if you make, for example, a booklet, or if you start a class here on YouTube, well, you can use your audience to sell them those things and make some money that way and offer them that service. So you don't have to make money from YouTube, but you could use your YouTube channel to actually get an audience or customers to actually sell them a product. That's also a legitimate way to actually make money because you solve a problem and you don't really need to get monetized to actually do that. On top of that, you could sell a course, you could teach a language, not on YouTube per se, but you could use the internet for this stuff, okay? So it's not necessarily you have to be like some big influencer. So, and that's why I say, right, these businesses, they're not like, oh, you need to make $1 million per month. No, you can make a good $1,000, $2,000 a month just by selling courses and teaching someone a language and so on. And you don't need to be a professional teacher, have some crazy experience or whatever. I know you can just learn a few details here and there and just like get started and see how it kind of works out. All right, and make some money while you're learning. That's like the best thing to do. Like make money while you learn. Now, number four, guys, is going to be car. A lot of these things pertain to a car, but you could use, for example, Uber. You could use, for example, you could be a medical delivery guy, or you can even be, for example, I think I had a third one here, delivery like on packages and so on. Okay, I have a friend. Well, not a friend. I actually want to do this. Okay, but it was actually you could use Amazon with your own car to grab packages and basically deliver them. That's pretty awesome to me. Number two, I have a friend though. This is the friend I have. He actually works like kind of like an Uber, but only like for medical patients. So he grabs people from their home, usually like old folks, and takes them direct to the hospital for their appointments every single week. And he makes good money this way, a lot more money than he would even actually made an Uber. And another friend of mine, well, two friends of mine, they actually do Uber full time, and they make like $60,000 a year, even potentially even more, and they make good money, and it's on their own time. But to do this, you have to like dedicate a lot of time to doing Uber, man. And in reality, it could be like a business in a sense, but I would only do it like to actually make some good money to for like for a specific goal and so on. But Uber is a job, man. You're there, 100% there. Okay, so keep that thing in mind. Now, number five is going to be like home cleaning. So imagine like you go to clean a house or a like not really like a building per se, but like a commercial area, and you're able to charge like $200 to do this. Okay, I remember when I was actually doing my house remodel, like all that garbage and so on, I paid someone like a good amount of money to pick it up. On top of that, I knew someone back in the day that they actually would go to houses and clean them, and they'll make like $100, $150, $200. Again, it would be like on the weekends and so on. So imagine you're like cleaning houses on the weekends, like three, four houses, and you walk around like on the weekend just like $1,000 or whatever. Like it's hard work. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted to offer feasible ideas that anyone could actually get started and get into very quickly. Be careful. Don't walk into a house without anybody knowing where you're going because you never know if you might come out of there. Okay, so I don't want to be scary, but I do want to be realistic. Same thing whenever you're operating some of business, like whether it's like the car rental, the apartment thing in your house, any of this stuff, like anything can be dangerous. So just take the right safety precautions to make sure that you're solid in case anything goes sideways. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. That's basically it. I told you guys they're simple. They're not going to make you a billionaire by tomorrow, but they can make you some good money to invest, to do whatever you actually want to do and so on. But thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. Up here is another banger. Over here is my face. Go subscribe. And as always, long-term team officially out. One of my favorite ones used to be phone flipping. I used to love buying and selling phones, not to make a lot of money, but to actually just buy a new phone and not have to pay any money for it and get it for free. That was like one of my big things back in the day. All right, peace.